lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Nars of Ahhhsoneo and I am doing a foundation review today. This is the Chanel Ultra Le Teint, the new foundation from Chanel that, well, yeah, we'll get into it. So if you would like to see my thoughts on the Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation, then please watch some more. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys have been here before, thank you so much for coming. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for coming. Welcome one and all. If you well, no, you wouldn't know that. Okay, yeah, so Ahhhsoneo is a channel that is all about abundance, and how abundance for me sometimes on this channel manifests itself is in a luxury goods. It just is. And a luxury foundations. I am obsessed with high-end luxury foundations for women of color, such as obviously myself. And I'm also obsessed with Chanel foundations, which of course are also a luxury high-end foundation. So today I get to combine the two and give you guys a review of the new Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation. Kind of let you know if it's worth your coins, because you know it's not cheap, and if it's better than the previous version of or something very similar, and if it's, you know, is it the best Chanel foundation out there right now? I don't know. Why don't you guys take a look? So as I've said, I'm obsessed with Chanel foundations. I currently have these four right here, which is a lot, but it is what it is. I also had the Chanel Vita Lumiere when it came out in the darker women complexions, and I will link that video down below. But I actually took that one back because yeah, we'll get into that. But I did take that one back because it wasn't my favorite, and I'll discuss my favorites later in the video. But today we will be discussing the Ultra Le Teint foundation, not to be confused with the Le Teint Ultra Tenue foundation. Get that? Why they would have such similar names, I don't know. Chanel, don't confuse us. Just don't. It's too much. But it is what it is. So the new foundation, what is it? What is it exactly? Why did Chanel come out with this new foundation? And boy, am I excited to be here talking to you guys about it, because it's one thing that is going to stick out right off the bat. So this new foundation comes in 30 colors, guys. Yes, 30. I know it's not the new gold standard set by Miss Rihanna Fenty and her Fenty Beauty line. And I know lots of companies are now doing 40, 45, 50. But for one of the old brand names, one of the old high-end names such as Chanel, Guerlain, Dior, to come out with 30 shades, I find really pleasing. I'm really happy. I already love a lot of Chanel foundations, so to see them listening to us and expanding their color range even more, I'm super excited, and I can't help but applaud them. With that speaking in mind, also with the color range that was extended for the Vita Lumiere foundation, I'm really happy, guys, and I hope you will be too. Looking at these foundation rate colors for the Ultra Le Teint, starting at around B80 is when the colors start for chocolate women of color. You can go a little paler if you're more caramel, or if you are Hispanic Latina descent, but once you're going into the African diaspora, like myself, we're looking at B80, BR102, B91, B101, B21, BD21, which is actually what I'm wearing, BR122, we've got B70 beige, BD131, BR132. It goes as deep as 172, and I will have some pictures here that shows the full range, or as many of them as I could get in one shot here. You can see there's a lot of tester bottles there. So I was saying there's a whole bunch of deeper foundation ranges that I am. About 6 foundation colors deeper than I am, which is fantastic. I'm so pleased that foundation Chanel really took it to heart about increasing their color range. So That is perfect. Sorry, I keep looking down. So that is the most important thing I thought I wanted to point out about this foundation range. The color range is really quite good. It's way better than we've come to expect from Chanel. So that's one thing. But what exactly is this foundation really? This is the Ultra All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation. And I'm reading from the Chanel website right here. Well, I'm trying to. I will be reading right in a little bit. Okay, so it's a full coverage foundation that's supposed to provide 24-hour wear with a flawless matte finish. It's a lightweight foundation that glides onto skin for all-day comfort and perfect looking complexion. So let's see. When pressed, this liquid matte foundation lasts in even the most environmentally strenuous conditions and provides buildable coverage. Enriched with Luminous Perfection Soft Focus Powder. I don't know what that means. The formula corrects visible imperfections and illuminates the complexion for the look of smooth, even skin. And then it says, use fingers or foundation brush and build coverage as needed. So there, I think really what you're supposed to take away from this is that this is supposed to be a luminous matte foundation. Yeah, I don't know, I always think you're either luminous or you're matte. You'll go where you go, you know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, that is what this foundation is. I'll let you know the top key ingredients, and of course it's water, cyclopentasiloxane, trimethylsalicylate, glycerin, butylene glycol, PEG, PPG, dimethicone, blah blah blah. And really reading this, it sounds like a lot of these things are what's typically the top main ingredients in Chanel foundations. So if you're allergic to any of those things, obviously stay away from it. But I am going to go into a video clip here where I'm going to show you myself putting on the foundation, and then I'm going to come back and I'll give you guys my thoughts on what I think about this foundation and how I think it compares to the other ranges, to the other foundations that Chanel has. Ultra Le Teint Chanel Ultra Confort Fini Zero Défaut. Ultra All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation.
Don't ask me why I have on my lipstick already. I just do. And I just realized I forgot to put it on. Just a few more spots. Blend it in a little bit with that. Bring that up a little bit.
Just because I feel like it, and I love this compact. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
And it just leaves a little bit of shimmer. Nothing too scary. That's what I like about it. It's so light. I know highlighter, when it's just like, pow, is the thing right now. But I like it somewhere like this. Alright, last thing. Oldie but goodie. Very old. Blush Horizon Center Chanel or something like that. Oh! Wow, I think this has become super pigmented with age. Wow, which it was not before. I don't ever remember it being that red. But you know, okay, I know. See, that's what I get for
Last but not least, finish myself off Yes, I know. I can't believe I still have this either. But lo and behold, I do. This brush, the La Mer brush, excuse the dirty handle, from the foundation, but it's one of my absolute favorites. It's so soft. I catch my daughter playing with it sometimes and she's like, it's so soft, mommy. I know, baby. That's why mommy likes it. Right. What do you guys think? And I am also wearing Chanel Le Volume mascara and my Christian Louboutin lipstick, Zulu I think it's called. It's broken, so I won't. They all break. It's so irritating, but it's broken. And then lip gloss, I'm wearing Rouge Cocoa Gloss number 716, which is one of my absolute favorites. So that finishes off the look. Alright, so back to the foundation. What do I think about this? Now I'm sure you guys saw how easy it was to blend. It was almost like too easy. I was like, where did it go? It just kind of blends right in, and I don't know how much the sponge ate it up. When I've used it in the past, I've tend to use my fingers. I like to warm up a foundation with my hands and use my fingers, especially when it's something that I'm new to, when it's a foundation that I'm new to it. I did use the beauty blender because I like to use the beauty blender in general. So I did use the beauty blender today, and I'm still quite happy with the finish. What do you guys think? In the beginning, I was kind of not sure about the color. In the Les Beiges foundation, which is my absolute favorite at this time, there's one other Chanel foundation which was my absolute favorite foundation. But in the Les Beiges color, I am 121 Caramel. I don't know if you guys can see how much of this I've used up. I absolutely love this foundation. I did need to be color matched because there was quite a few options with the Ultra Le Teint range that I didn't know which one it was, and I was afraid to go online and just buy randomly. It is a $60 foundation. So I did go into the store and get color matched, and I was matched to BD 121, which is, I believe, the neutral, and there was like there's beige rose, there's beige rose, there's beige, and there's beige doré, which is the golden. Sorry, so this is the golden. So I did get matched to that one, and I actually like the color very much. I think that worked out for me pretty well, color match wise. However, I do find that this foundation is more matte than it is luminous, as they say in the direction, you know, they say it's a matte luminous foundation. I do find that it leans a little bit more matte for me, and so that actually has kind of made me figure out where to put it within my own foundation wardrobe here, in that this will be my summer foundation where I'm a little bit more dewy, shiny, and might need not necessarily more coverage, but might need a little bit more oil control than I typically do. I have very dry skin, and so I prefer a luminous or a very light foundation. And so this is why I like the Les Beiges foundations, because I find them very light, very skin-like. And my great concern with matte foundations is always that they are going to look like a mask and immovable, which I don't like. I don't like to look like I'm wearing foundation. I want to just look like I have perfect skin. You know what I mean? But in the summer, I need a bit more help because I do get dewy and shiny and oily like most people do. And so in the summer, I'm much more apt to prefer a matte foundation. And so I think this would be good for me in the summer. However, and this is where I'll compare the new Ultra Le Teint to the previous Le Teint Ultra Teint. Tenue. This foundation is my least used of all of my foundations, let alone just my high-end foundation. This is the least used of all of my foundations. This was for me a very matte foundation that kind of, even though it eventually blended in, I still kind of felt like it stayed on my face a lot more than what I like to wear. I compare this foundation to the what was that one from Nars, the Luminous Flawless Ultra Wear blah blah blah. It had a very long name. I'll try to remember the name and put it here somewhere. But that's what I compared this one to, in that it was very obviously a matte full coverage foundation, and this is what the old Le Teint Ultra Tenue is. It's a very matte full coverage foundation, and so it's just not my preference to wear such a foundation. Actually, I'm surprised I never returned this because it just ended up not being something that I like to wear because it's a little heavier. I'm trying to use it up now, which is really dumb because it's still cold and my skin is still dry. So I'll probably finish this once and for all over the summer, or just end up tossing it, because I think the new one, the Ultra Le Tenue, is going to be a better fit for me, where it has mattifying properties, but it's not as matte and as dry looking as I think the other one was. That being said, between these two, my preference is still the Les Beiges. I find the Les Beiges much more forgiving because it is a very light foundation. I think I consider myself lucky in that, yes, I do have wrinkles and so on, but I don't have as much hyperpigmentation, and I don't have scarring, deep scarring, or things of that nature that I need to cover. I have bags I need to cover. Hello, concealer. But other than that, I think I have pretty clear skin. Glycolic acid, people, don't sleep on it. Glycolic acid will save the day. And so for me, my preference will always be a very light foundation, a very breathable looking foundation. So I think on the days when I might need a little bit more help, then I would use this mattifying foundation, mattifying luminous. But for the most part, the Les Beiges is still my preference between the two, and the one I will most likely continue to use the most, or maybe even mix them. However, for me, my absolute high-end foundation was my absolute holy grail foundation from Chanel was the Perfection Lumiere. I am still waiting for them to bring that one back. I know there's now Perfection Lumiere Velvet. That one never came in my color, so I've never tried it. I do like the Chanel Vita Lumiere, but it was, to me, that foundation feels like a CC cream. It was, I liked it, yeah, it was great, but it wasn't as good as this. And actually, I decided to take that one back because I meant to get a second one of these because I like this one so much. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know I like it so much. I have two. I have the 191 and the 121, and I do mix these two colors in the winter when I'm a little lighter in complexion. Would I recommend this? Definitely. If you are an oily skin girl, then this will be your friend. Not super oily though, because I didn't find it like a very heavy matte where you definitely need those mattifying properties. I'm sure if you put on primer and this, it would be a good combination. So yeah, I mean, definitely if you're an oily girl, try it. If you're a dry girl, it's not that bad. It's actually not that bad. I've been wearing this foundation on and off for the last 2 weeks, and honestly guys, it's not that bad. I've worn it exclusively for the last 2 weeks. I haven't really used any other foundation, and this one, it's not too bad even for those of us with dry skin. Even though I'm saying I would much rather use it during the summer, it hasn't been too bad during the winter. So yeah, definitely I do recommend this foundation. I just know for myself I'll be using it later during the year. And as you guys saw in the video, it was really blendable. It really just spread out. It's winter, so it's kind of hard to say, but I didn't feel the need to blot or powder as the day went by. I felt like it still looked good 6-7 hours into the day. I don't wear any foundation for 24 hours, so I can't speak to that claim at all, and pray to God I never have to, because, you know, those days are over. But for a good wear to work, wearing you're out and about, wear to run errands foundation, I do like this. Preference is still the Les Beiges, preference is still the Les Beiges, but I consider this a really good improvement on this one. I don't know if it was meant to be a replacement of this one, but if you love this, you'll definitely love this. Another thing I wanted to say is that Chanel has a really horrible habit of getting rid of foundations. They have a horrible habit of getting rid of foundation ranges when they release new ones. I hate it when they do that. I wouldn't be surprised if Le Teint Ultra Tenue starts to disappear. I really wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Les Beiges starts to disappear as well, because they have added colors to Chanel Vita Lumiere, and now this with its 30 shades. So another thing I want to warn people about, another thing that Chanel does, is they'll come out with a bigger, or in this case a big foundation range selection, but if those deeper colors don't sell, they will literally start to discontinue them. The Les Beiges foundation used to come out in, I think, 1 or 2 deeper colors than the 121. After about a year and a half, those colors just disappeared. Same thing happened with Perfection Lumiere. Perfection Lumiere had 91, 104, 121, 132, 154, and the 3 disappeared. We were left with 91 and 121. The other 3 disappeared. The other 3 had issues with Perfection Lumiere. 154 and 132, whatever those 2 colors were very red. I mean, you could tone them down, but they tended to lean a little red. And Chanel got rid of those colors. Instead of like reformulating, adding a bit more aquamarine to the color to take away the red, you add the blue to take away the red. Instead of doing that with Perfection Lumiere, they just took the colors away, and there was a long time before they came out with Les Beiges, and Les Beiges had a good color range, but again we saw the same thing where the deeper colors for the Les Beiges have gone away. I'm actually planning on buying 1, if not 2 more 121s, because now with this one, I wouldn't be surprised if those start to disappear as well. Between adding the deeper shades to the Vita Lumiere and coming out with this, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, just a little cautionary tit for tat thing that I like to add there. Check it out. My ring just, oh no, my earring. And check it out. It's a good foundation. It's a good alternative for you matte girls. It's a good alternative for our straight girls. Thanks, lovelies, for watching. Remember, choose happiness.